Well, looking at the video title, Satanic Defilement Ritual Survivor, but he's come out of it, this baptism of fire with the Spirit of the Lord and this holy power, and he's spreading the word, and he's influencing so many people in a positive manner because of it. It was so dark and demonic what he went through. He's gone, took that force and using it for good. And Wyatt, many people on this channel, they've not heard you speak before. Just from the little bit you said earlier, people were so moved. Let's go back again from the very beginning. Explain what it was like for you when you were growing up. Thank you.
Real quick, I just want to say one thing before I get started. 2.5 years ago, I was the person I'm about to describe. 2.5 years ago, I was hopeless. 2.5 years ago, I was broken. And 2.5 years ago, I heard the Lord say that I'm healing you, like he did, but he said, I'm going to get your testimony out there. Could just be a voice in my head, but here we are today, like millions have officially heard my testimony, and God is using me. And I just want to say that, like, I'm nobody but a dude with a phone and a camera, guys. So, all right. Let's see. So as a kid, we were in California. I was born in Fontana, California. I lived there till I was 4 years old. And my dad, like I was telling Shaun a minute ago, and you guys, my dad he started 2 biker gangs. He's never told me anything, but everybody in my family has. So from what I've heard, okay, he has started 2 biker gangs that are still around today in Southern California, and he was a Klansman. Okay, I guess he was just a really hardcore guy. Didn't really get along with people very much, and kind of had this drive to get to the mountains and raise his family not in California. So we move from California when I'm 4 years old to the mountains in Colorado. Like we lived in a trailer park type house that was dragged up this mountain. We didn't have running water. We didn't have plumbing. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have heating. We didn't have any of that. The way we heated our house was with firewood and kerosene lanterns. And that's the way he wanted it. And like right now looking back, I'm like, man, that's pretty hardcore, dude. But like for me at the time, it was wonderful. I remember just being a kid and like bathing in mud, dude, and just life was good, life was pure, life was really good. So at 5 years old, I'm careful to use certain words, right? But at 5 years old, I was taken advantage of by a male that was pretty much an adult. Multiple times, and it was a big deal and changed my life forever. I didn't realize how much it changed my life. I didn't realize how much of an effect it had on me, to be honest. Like I described, one day it's normal kid, me and my brother taking baths together, how kids do. And then like I describe it, it's like eating from the apple. I wouldn't let my mom see me naked no more. I wouldn't let anybody no more. The moment that that innocence was taken from me, it was just like Adam and Eve hiding from God and trying to clothe themselves. It was the same way. I didn't even know I was naked. A little boy doesn't know that he's like that, right? So that fractured my spirit. And like I said, I just didn't know how much it was a big deal. Time goes on, normal childhood. We move from there because we do a couple winters there, and it was just too rough, like 8 feet of snow and just way too much. So we get this other house, very small house. My brother and I share a bed in the living room because the bedroom that we were in used to be a porch. It has no insulation, and we couldn't keep it warm. So we shared a twin-size bed in the living room together till I was 16 years old, like when I stayed home. But by then I was, pride started sneaking its way into my life at a young age. And I relate a lot of it all back to, losing my innocence. But pride started coming in. I started fighting a lot. Just this is like in middle school. Yeah, I started fighting a lot, and then like green comes around, pop, then other drugs, and by the time I was in 6th grade, I was like emotionally dependent on painkillers. By the 9th grade, I was physically dependent on heroin and Oxycontin, full of pride, like bad, dude. Like I would drink like a bottle of vodka and then go wait outside of the local bar because I knew when those guys got messed up enough, they'd come out and want to fight me. Like I was just angry, and full of pride, and now addicted to drugs. That's, dude, I didn't go to school unless I had drugs. And I was the only person like that. It was a public school. And I don't know if you guys realize it, but in a lot of public schools, like if you come and go, you just leave when you want, they can call like the police on you, like where's this kid at? Because you're their responsibility. But for me, because I was just so intense, I got away with anything. I would leave class, hitchhike an hour to the major city I live by, like literally hitchhike. It's a full hour drive just to buy my drugs, hitchhike back, walk back into the school, and no one would say a word to me because they knew that like I would just take things way too far. I've described this before. Like they'd be like, "Oh, we'll send you to the office. Well, let's do it," and I'll break the door on the way out. Like I was so demonically blessed, is the way I describe it, that I got away with anything. It was like the doors were just wide open for me to go down this path. It was like Satan decided young that I was going to be his and be a representative for him, and he was going to use me young. There's a lot of people coming out right now who were born in the occult, born in really dark, secretive societies, born in really dark things, and they're coming out right now, like my brother Nathan, that's pretty viral right now. They're coming out right now and talking about their life, but I feel like my life is kind of the link in between that. It's hard for us to connect to that ritual. It's hard for us to connect to the magic and the power that Satan has. My life is going to be that link between those really drastic stories, okay, and the modern person, because I'm the product of what happens when that type of occult attacks, okay, and someone doesn't realize it's happening. I'm the product of, so you'll see what I'm saying. So, my wife is beautiful. One of the most, to this day, just one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. I love her very much. At the moment, she's in Victorville, California, in a federal prison because just we did a lot of crazy stuff. But when I first started dating her, she was just young. She was I was a senior in high school. By this point, I was the guy that nobody let their kids hang out with. You are not allowed to hang out with WYATT COATS. Like he's a drug addict, you know? So I start eyeing my wife, and she's a year younger than me, and we start dating, and it's just a lot because I just took something so pure and innocent, and everybody makes their own decisions, but I just can't help but to think, if I wasn't there pushing her into that direction, she wouldn't have struggled the way she did with it all. But and that's the thing about sin, guys, is you don't realize like the legal right you give the enemy when you're young, when you're doing things you shouldn't be doing, when God has told you not to and you do it anyways. See, Satan has plans. He uses sin like we use gravity. He uses sin like we use geometry and science. Like it's a matter of fact for him. So the rituals, when perfected, are guaranteed, just like gravity is. So when you sin young, you let things in young, okay? that we are not realizing. And so all that, you're submitting to the lust, you're submitting to the addiction, you're submitting to all the things that the devil has to offer. And we don't think there's this big repercussion, but because you've submitted to it, it's now guiding your life. And the addiction guided my life. I ended up getting my wife addicted to drugs. I ended up getting her brothers, younger brothers, one of her younger brothers addicted. I'm talking fentanyl, the whole nine, like homelessness on the streets, bad, you know. And it's really sad when I like look back at my wife's pictures and her brother's picture, and it's just like I didn't realize I was corrupting everything I touched because I was unwilling to put my foot down and stop doing the things I knew that I shouldn't be doing, right? So I also want to say before I get started, I'm going to talk about a ritual that happens in my living room of a house that I lost. It's really dark. It's an actual defilement ritual. And when I talk about the drug use, I want to say that all of it is IV. So I don't have to like flag us for certain words. Everything ingested is intravenously. And yeah, so my wife and I are in love, totally in love, never spend a day apart. And see, Satan can plan things like this. When you give him the control of your marriage before it gets started. See, God told us not to have sex before we get married. And the same spirit that tempts you into having sex before you get married is actually the same demon that'll cause it to break, fall apart, or become bland after you get married. See, they prep. It's all about prep, okay? So when I did all the things that I shouldn't be doing early on, there's repercussions to that. And I allowed addiction to be the God of our marriage. I allowed lust to be the God of our marriage. I didn't have any value in myself because of the early on, the the man took advantage of me early on, right? I had no value. I was prideful. All of those things are now ruling my marriage because I'm the man in my house submitted to some other power. Do you see how that works? So, dude, it felt like the greatest, deepest love, but really what we were doing was building an inability to be alone. Like we had to have each other. All my value was in her and all hers was in me. And Satan planned it that way so that when things fell apart, it broke us and fractured us that much more. Okay, so trauma is one of the biggest open doors to the enemy. So he can plan it. When you submit to him before you get married, he can plan the break 3 years in, right? So that's exactly what happened. He makes it to where we just can't spend time apart from each other at all. So when the unfaithfulness started happening, okay, it broke us deeply, very, very deeply. So we're both addicted to heroin. We get off, we get on
We're gonna
method.
go with brown, white, and green.
Okay. So okay. So being addicted to brown or black, okay. It's a serious thing. It takes everything from you. It's very heavy, but we wanted to get off. We didn't want to be hooked. We were on it straight every day for years. About this time was the first medically assisted treatment came into our city for methadone, and doctors prescribed that. And it's just something you can take daily instead of chasing drugs around the city all day. And we got hooked on that because it's very addictive too. In my opinion, harder to get off than even the actual stuff, but you can have a normal life. So it seemed like the answer at the time. 4 years we're on that. 4 years of taking this every single day. My wife gets pregnant. We have our daughter. I'm a carpenter. I'm making really good money. We're in love. Just everything's perfect. So perfect that if we lost it, it would be devastating, right? So, that's exactly what happened. My wife had our daughter, and it was extremely traumatic for her. It happened very fast, and it hurt her. Like she broke her tailbone. There was a lot of bleeding. It was this really foul thing. And when I was holding my daughter, right when it came out, we tried handing my daughter to her mother, and I knew right away there was a problem because her mother was like, I'll hold her later, you know? And so I want to shout out the women who fought through post-traumatic, baby blues and stuff, because I watched it in my wife, and it was very, very serious. It's a very serious thing. I want you to know that it doesn't have to look like Hollywood says it is. Sometimes in real life, things are messy. And I think this idea that my wife didn't feel the connection right away just like made her feel worthless and broken. So she relapsed meth and she relapsed white, we'll call it. And for 9 months she's using that while I'm working. And if any of you know about that drug, it's very, very drastic. It's very hardcore. So like she's just broken in the closet night after night, not sleeping at all, just intravenously, and it was very traumatic for all of us. I, I tried blaming her for everything. I tried looking at her and say, you're breaking our family. Look what you're doing. But the point I'm trying to make about those decisions when you're young and before you get married, and like, especially men, we try to point the finger at our wives, but the truth is, guys, like God's given you the authority, and it's your responsibility to do what's right. And when he gives you a good woman, she will follow you. And the thing is I failed my marriage long before my wife did. But at the time, I couldn't see that. At the time, I was looking at her and I was looking at God like Adam did and said, the woman you gave me, look what she's doing. It's her fault. I'm good. Not remembering all the time she caught me watching adult content, and I'd convince her for 3 days that it meant nothing to me. I'd watch her heart completely break. It meant nothing to me. And then as soon as I was out of the doghouse, it was back to it. You know what I'm saying? All the times that I submitted to a different spirit, that I submitted, okay, to that spirit of lust, to the spirit of pride, okay, to that fractured place of my heart where I was just letting whatever good feeling guide and direct me instead of submitting myself to the Lord and what was right. That was what was controlling my marriage, and it controls many people's. And this is what I want to make that link, and I will. Okay, so she wakes me up one night after like 8.5 months of doing it, and we're fighting every day. And I get emotional almost every time I talk about this because it was real. Like what I'm telling you really happened. Okay. She wakes me up, and can I talk about blood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. She wakes me up, and she's been trying to do a shot of white all night. And she can't. She's collapsed all of her veins. And I'm sleeping. I got to get up early, and I have a newborn baby under my armpit because I'm father, mother. I'm providing while my wife's broken. She wakes me up at 3 a.m. because she's decided that no matter what, she's going to get high. And so, like, with covered in blood, she begs me to do the thing, do it for her. And I just couldn't watch her do that to herself anymore. It was, dude, it's messed up. It's really dark. that addiction's serious. It's very, very serious. So she wakes me up and I start doing it for her because I don't want her running off and doing it. I'd rather do it myself. I'm tired of watching her poke herself. I'd rather just do it clean and be over with it. Like she was gonna do it no matter what. And so I folded to that. And then she runs off with a friend of mine all night. I finally find her and she looks at me and says, "You can't tell me to get off white if you're still taking methadone at the clinic." So that night I quit 140 milligrams that I've been taking every day for 4 years. I'm broken. My heart's broken. I'm a father, but I'm barely connected to my daughter because just what's going on. I go into the worst withdrawals I've ever been in by far. I'm talking like by day 8, they just kicked in, like just started. I'm like 2 weeks in, I finally fold, or 3 weeks in, I finally fold, and I'd use some of her white, and the relapse just starts. Boom, everything breaks. I'm back on black, brown, white, everything I can find. Within 3 months, keep in mind, I was making great money. I had just bought us a house, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Okay. I had just bought us a house. I had a Subaru WRX. I had trucks, cars, family, everything. Within 3 months, I had lost all of it. Everything. Just stopped paying all of it, lost my mind. My daughter had got taken from me in a parking lot by CPS because they caught me doing what I shouldn't be doing in the truck, and that fracturing of someone's spirit is the defilement that opens someone up to be used by the enemy. And in dark occult type rituals, that's what they do. They use trauma and they use ritual, okay, as like a science because they know it works. It's okay. So by this point, I'm like broken out of my mind, and all I'm doing is talking to the devils that I'm spending all my time with. When you're in a broken place, it's easy for the enemy to come along and lie to you and say just anything to make you feel better, anything to make you not feel like a broken animal. Okay. I also want to say I don't blame my wife for any of this. I do truly blame myself and the man I was, and praise God that I'm born again. Okay. So she's running around with friends, my friends. We're not even like married no more. I'm just completely busted. And I end up hitting her while we're in a car together really bad. I get in a different car. I drive an hour away, get into a head-on collision that same day, leave my car there, and then I finally make it home, which, by the way, I lost my house. It was gone. My wife's not with me. She's gone. And my daughter's with CPS. She's gone. And my house has been empty for a long time. And it was just full of paraphernalia, like condemned. It was not a safe place to be. And this is where I get into this ritual that I later find out is like you'll see. Okay, so I'm just hanging out with devils. I make it home. My house was condemned. It was locked, but I knew how to get in it. I'm on the couch. I fall asleep for a little while. When I wake up, I don't have any white. I don't have any black. I don't have anything. I go into withdrawal, and this demon that I've been hanging out with is like right in my face, beautiful, comes to me like an angel, acting just like beautiful, making me feel some sort of pride because my soul is just so broken that it knows it can enter me by going to you and be like, no, you're good. You're going through this for a reason. Like saying things that God would say. So I was letting this spirit in, but it wakes me up. It's very lustful. The way it speaks to me, it's like a beautiful woman. Every word it speaks to me is very lustful. The end of every word she says has like that, you know, like sexual every word. And she's like, follow me to your closet. I have something for you. So I follow this spirit into my closet, and I'll try to talk about this the best way I can without it. It's just the real thing. This really happened. I find 2 old shots that are clotted from when my wife was in the closet, filled with her blood, you know, and it tells me to take them. So like I have to like recook them up, and I do it. It gets me really messed up. When I go back into my living room, a different spirit's in there, and this other spirit, I always thought it was like Jesus, and it represented itself like Jesus, like that. It always had this feeling of righteousness and truth. So when I see this other spirit, now I know it was an antichrist spirit, because anti means against or instead of. So I go into the living room, and this other demon had laid out, and like, this is truth. Dude, I don't even know. Like, it literally laid out a pentagram with my stuff, my wife's stuff, my daughter's stuff, like clothing and pictures on the floor, big enough for me to lay down into. So now I have this spirit who just took me into the closet, got me high on that, and then I go into the living room, and there's another spirit laying, or it's standing there. It has me lay down in the pentagram. It has me put my feet up in the air. Like, it's holding my feet up in the air while I'm laying, so my shoulders are on the ground. And it was a defilement ritual. And at the time, I didn't realize this is what was happening. At the time, I just was so full of brokenness, trauma, the drugs, like I was just messed up. I'm trying to not say anything that gets you flagged. I'm trying to be like, if I
Doing
was
great.
if I
Doing
was like
great, man.
really getting into it, yeah, it was such a dark moment. Okay, so it has me start ingesting things intravenously, and like earwax, all the bodily fluids a man has, urine, semen, feces, everything. And like, I'm not in control anymore. I had fully given it over. So this thing's just telling me what to do, and I'm doing it. And like, I feel like I'm doing something that's about to like make sense the whole time. I'm always just like, yes, this is what's next. This is what's next. We're about to do it. Like, so I'm doing all these nasty things that this demon's telling me to do while it's being extremely, extremely sexual in my ear. And so after I do all that, that spirit begins to, it sticks like a finger in my brain and starts, this is insane, but I'll make connections, okay? I will make day-to-day connections, okay? It sticks a finger in my brain, using my brain, my mind, and starts flashing this light while I'm hearing this deep drum bass, like at the gates of hell is what I thought. Like, literally, it was like deep drum bass, the lights flashing, and it is literally pleasuring me through my brain. So much so where like full happening, like full climax, and I didn't even have to touch myself like at all. Like, that's literally what this thing was doing to me. Okay, so after that, this other demon that laid out the pentagram, it looks at me very deeply with honor, as if I'm this chosen one, okay? And it's like, we're gonna tell you the secret that no one knows. You're in the upside down, and the truth is the Bible's been twisted, and Lucifer is actually the light bearer. He left heaven to give the world good things. Okay, this is what he tells me. And Jesus actually doesn't want you to have any good things. That true heaven is when, under the right supervision, we find this worldly pleasure. We pleasure, like That's what he was telling me. And he said that Lucifer left heaven to do good, right? Words he used, okay, like geometrician was literally words he used. At the time, I'd never heard anything like this before, ever. I was like a Christian, okay? Like I grew up a lukewarm Christian, but I still believed in Jesus, okay? So it tells me that, and while it tells me, so we look at each other, we use our words and our thoughts to express words, and it's up to the other person to like the way they receive it. But when you let a demon in, he just tells you things and you believe it. So as he was saying it to me, it was making sense. I was like, oh dude, the world's twisted, they're all tricked. I was like, Lucifer's good. Like I started believing it. After that ritual, which I'm gonna talk about in a little bit, and I'm gonna make big connections. Like you can do research on Aleister Crowley, okay? You can do research on his developments and his research, and you're gonna find out he did all the exact same things. And he called himself the Beast, and he was looking for the Scarlet Woman, defiling women, okay, to do strong magic and allow the beast that he worshipped to enter that woman, okay? I'm talking to the T. Every bodily fluid, the words flipping Lucifer to be the light bearer and Jesus being evil, the drugs, the trauma, every bit of it is literally the practice of Aleister Crowley and deep, dark occultism rituals, okay? The okay, yes, Crowley. This guy, that guy. He he practiced defilement rituals. On a small level, he would just do it to like one person at a time. He believed he was the beast, and he was using full defilements and full pleasure and all that to build magic. And he was trying to find the Scarlet Woman. When I say the Scarlet Woman, I'm talking about Revelation 17. There's a woman who rides on the back of the beast, and she seduces the world into sin and seduces the kings of the world into sin. Okay? The stuff that, if you look at the ritual, what it consists of, it's a pentagram type ritual, 5 major points, and the pentagram represents a portal into one's soul. So if you ritualize these 5 major points and cause someone to go through them, like a science, they will be opened up and possessed with a demon. It's just like the man who had a legion of demons in him in the Bible. What types of stuff did he do to, so Lucifer has spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to enter people, okay? And I learned all that. I'm going to talk more about my story because I end up getting knowledgeably into deep, dark occultism, antichristism, working with spirits to spread their spirit out. It started out dark like this, but once I let him in, he was able to just it got crazy. So the ritual, it's this. It's 5 major points of defilement, okay? And I've gone through a lot to get this information out, all right? This ritual is 5 major points of defilement. It's worship of self, false god worship, sexual stuff and trauma, sorcery, which is like using, like the drugs are the sorcery. That's what was explained to me. Drugs, poisons, bad foods, pharmakia, okay? And then the last one was magic, all right? Okay, so that's exactly the ritual, and that's exactly, if you break it down, what I went through. So immediately after this ritual happens in my life, in my living room floor, broken, out of my mind, now I'm fully demonically possessed. Once the ritual takes place, I've learned this, okay? Lucifer ended up getting very vulnerable with me, and I'll get into that. They had to take my body for a test drive. They wanted to see how far I could go. Could they break my own free will? So that day, right after that, I go full depressed, full psychotic mode. I start believing that everybody can see what I'm seeing and everybody can hear what I'm hearing, okay? And I'm gonna prove it by driving my car into back of the car in front of me. And if they get out of the way, that means they saw me coming. I did, dude, like I've said before, I did this like 20 times that day at like 90 miles an hour, and everybody gets out of my way. I've never been so full of rage and insanity than right after this ritual. Again, they got in and they were seeing how far they could, that if they could break my free will and just take me for a ride, like, okay, the two people that don't get out of the way, one is a Cummins dually, white pickup, big truck. He doesn't get out of the way, but like I swerve just in time, okay? And then the other one is a Mesa County sheriff right outside of Grand Junction, Colorado. And I hit the back of him just enough to like, oh, I'm here, buddy. And then back up way far. By the time I pass him, I'm going like 130 miles in my Subaru WRX. He doesn't even try to chase me because around this time, they just made a new law in the area where if you're endangering the public, they don't chase you. So I was just he didn't even try to chase me. I get to the main road in Patterson in Grand Junction, Colorado, and I'll say there's like the main road, there's a turning lane, and then there's the oncoming lane, right? And just main highways. So here's another cop. I'm going 110 right after this. Just, dude, full insane, full anger. Something else is driving the wheel. My personal thoughts is just, I'm done with life. I'm over it. I'm just gonna unalive today. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I pass this cop, I have to pull into that oncoming lane. Right when I do that, there's another car. So I go to the on the coming traffic, passing this cop at 110 miles an hour. Dude, this is stuff I'd never do, guys. Like, just never, ever, ever. There's no way. Like, this thing just was test driving me, and he fully took over, fully. So that year, I get arrested like 12 times. I ran from the cops 8 times, 8 high-speed chases, made them quit. I had cops catch on to me and they would just not turn on their lights and they would chase me with their lights off until I finally just pushed the limits too far. I end up going into a sportsman's warehouse. I go into a sportsman's warehouse. I asked them for a 1911 Colt 45. He hands it to me. I act like I put a bullet in it, cock it, and I start waving it around, and I left with that gun, like gunpoint. Then later that night, I kicked in the door to this local machine shop that had done work on my Subaru, so I just was familiar with the area. Keep in mind, guys, I'm just like out of my mind this whole time. I'm not trying to get wealth. I'm not trying to get money. I don't want nothing for myself. There's just something else taking the wheel, telling me what to do, and I'm in a different, like, okay. So I kick the door into this machine shop. I steal 2 more guns, a 1911 Colt 45 with a muzzle on it and an extended clip, and then a 44 Magnum, and then I steal a brand new Dodge Hemi pickup truck that they had right up with key fob, started up, and I go. When I'm arrested, it's because I fall asleep in a parking lot. I had gotten rid of the truck and I got rid of all the guns, so all I had on me was drugs. Just within a couple hours, got rid of all of it. So I fall asleep in this parking lot. I'm reported armed and dangerous. They open my door, all guns drawn. I'm just finally falling asleep from like a 20-day bender. And when I stand up out of the car, all I see is just like black, foggy figures. And I just ran. Right when I ran, they shot me in the kidney with a 12 gauge beanbag round. And when you're like 5 feet from that thing, dude, it literally like put a hole in me like that big, dude. Dropped me to the ground like I tripped over something. I really thought I tripped over a bush, but they said, no, we just shot you. And then I spent I spent 4 days in the safety cell, the one where they put people who are trying to hurt themselves, right? I spent 4 days in there naked, screaming my brains out, claiming I'm not WYATT COATS. Remember, I just got arrested 12 times this year, so it's not like they don't know me. I like don't go to court because I'm refusing to admit I'm WYATT COATS, so I don't go to court. They set these massive bonds on me. And quickly though, when I start coming back is when like I realize, man, I don't want to live like this no more, you know? And, you know, I asked Jesus to save me, and he starts bringing my mind back. So he had this crazy mercy on me, guys, all of that. And I do like 3 months in jail, county jail, and 4 months in rehab, and I'm out on probation of all that. I take 2 felonies from that, and I'm out on probation because God just had a plan and he's got mercy for me and all this. Okay, we're gonna keep going because I want to talk about the Antichrist, and I got to get there. So we're just not to the place yet where I'm like practicing magic yet, practicing the rituals on my own. I get there later because I cry out to Jesus. He gets me sober, but just because I'm sober doesn't mean my heart has changed. Just because I'm sober doesn't mean I'm repented. I'm just sober, but no change has happened in me other than the fact that I'm no longer using those drugs. I start working for myself about a year out of jail. I'm making good money. I'm charging like 45 bucks an hour. Like for me, that was really good. I had a full-time employee that was working for me, and I'm worshiping God. Hear me, dude. I am worshiping God in my garage, building stuff for the job that I'm working for myself, full blessing. I'm getting my life back together. My kids are back in my life every day, you know, and while I'm worshiping God, that defilement ritual that I did, Satan just came and took me. I just like, while worshiping the Lord, dude, it's insane. This is why we can't be playing with magic. We can't be playing with stuff we know we shouldn't be doing because there's repercussions. And so even though I cried out to the Lord, just like David did, David still dealt with the repercussions of that sin with Bathsheba for the rest of his life. So I had given legal right to the enemy through that defilement ritual that happened in my living room, okay? And I didn't realize how much of myself I gave to him. So I'm literally worshiping in my garage, and Satan just takes over, fully takes me over, enters me, starts talking to me. He's acting like Jesus. I believe it's Jesus, but quickly he distorts my mind again, like full reprobate, and it becomes very lustful, very sexual, very, very dark, very dark. And I begin to do these rituals with the spirit that was in me, that was acting like Jesus. And okay, I'm going to talk about something that's really hard to hear. And I just want to say again, the Lord has saved me. In 3 weeks from now, I'm going to Denver, Colorado to teach a class on street evangelism, and we're going to lead a lot of people to Jesus Christ. I lead people to the Lord every single day. My testimonies reached millions at this point, tens of millions actually. And just a couple years ago, I was at this place where I'm sleeping with the spirit that claims to be Jesus, because he was like, I really love you, son. And he would tell me like, I really love you. And I'm like, okay, you know, weird Jesus, but let's move on. He'd be like, no, like all love comes from the same source. So the way a man loves his wife is the same way that a mother loves her son. And he was describing like, even though they feel different, they're all connected to the same source of deep, passionate love. Like, and it became sexual with Jesus. You know how Indians in Native Americans, they'll get their name like Smoke in the Wind or Rides Bear or whatever, right? Because of something they did or their spirit. My spirit name is something to do with Jesus's blood, and it's sexual. I can't even say it. It literally has to do with the Lord's blood starting my fire, like turning me on. That's literally it. And that's what this neck tattoo means. This means Komora Devaka. It's a demon like murked my soul once I Dude, 14 years of drug addiction, one look in this Antichrist's eyes broke my spirit worse than 14 years of drug addiction, worse than losing my house, handing my daughter to CPS, wife, all of it. One look in this devil's eyes, he is just pure sin, pure rage, pure defilement. One look in his eyes, he got vulnerable with me, and he took me to this like place during a ritual, and I look into his eyes, and one look destroys my spirit. And right after he destroys my spirit, he comes up and hands me, okay? He comes up and hands me, all right, this tattoo. But like when he hands it to me, he like banked it in my mind and says, hurry up and go get this tattoo on you. And so I did. It was an Antichrist spirit, and he had decided he was going to exalt himself through me. The hand tattoos the same way. I was speaking to a dead ancestor with this Antichrist spirit, and this was their favorite flower. So like, but what I didn't realize is he was dressing me up in a way to use me. He was fully possessing me, and he wanted to use me. So it gets really, really dark. I'm going to go through my testimony. I want to go through how Jesus saves me from this, but I'll come back around and talk about some stuff I'd never spoken about before. So let's just go through that. So all these things are happening. Dude, I'm literally in love with these spirits. I see them, talk to them, sleep with them, hang out with them. I know handshakes with them. They're my best friends. I'm infatuated with all of them, many of them. They mean everything to me. They have fully detached me from reality and tapped me into this spiritual realm where they are everything to me. These spirits are everything to me, and they're just filling me with lies and filling me with pride. And it's just like, you're the chosen one, Wyatt. They started off with telling me that I was the 144,000. That was one of the first things they told me. And I let that come in, and they were like, no, it's actually more than that. After a while, that sunk in. They said, no, you're the third Adam. You're the Christ in this last day. Like, I literally became an Antichrist. And so that spirit of Jesus that I'm with, he meant everything to me, but in this twisted, disgusting, demonic way. It wasn't the Christ, it was an Antichrist demon, and he meant everything to me. I was just hooked. It was the best time. He like took all the pain, all the hurt in my life and said, no, you're good now. And in this place, this spiritual realm where I'm doing all these things with these demons, that was my heaven. And not realizing that that was hell. Like, that was just a lure. Like, I was just in a waiting room. I was going to burn there forever. And not real, like, it was the best. It was so good, so pleasurable. I would laugh to their jokes. I found out that like every funny character in the world, your favorite characters that don't point to Jesus, it says that if it is not working for the Lord, it's working against. So, dude, I would laugh. They're so funny. These spirits are so hilarious, dude, that I would laugh on the ground for like an hour. Dude, they just had me rolling, bro. Like, just so funny. They're so seductive, and they just know how to get you. I had fully let them in. I just got to express how real it was. So much so that I no longer had to even this. I just need to express this because people have like sexual dreams. Okay, well, that was happening to me, but in real life, and like really happening, like fully. And so this Antichrist demon is wanting to destroy my heart worse. And every time he traumatizes me and has me go through these really dark things, he can enter me more and use me more. So he's like, we're doing these rituals at night, and this devil is like having me dress a certain way that I would never dress. So now I got the neck tattoo. I got the hand tattoo. I look like the world. He would have me go get certain tank tops and like short shorts and like certain Nike shoes that I would never wear, dude, ever. And he would say, there's a woman that you're going to meet up with in a couple days. And this is the man she dreams about. So I would get words of knowledge about women, okay, before I ever meet them. He would say, okay, today's the day. Bro, I'd fast to let this spirit in me deeper. Like, I knew, it came to the point where I started knowing what I was doing, and I was allowing the spirit to guide me. So I would go I would get a word of knowledge about them. This devil would say, hey, tell them about what happened at a party 2 weeks ago with a guy that no one knows about. So I'd walk up to this girl, the target woman, and I'd be like, hey, I know what happened at that party 2 weeks ago with two guys. And her jaw would drop. She'd almost come to tears, and she'd be like, how do you know that? Like, dude, deep, intense stuff. And I would look at her and say, it's God. It's the God that's in me. And he knows you and he loves you and he wants to be a part of your life. Like, I was literally taking an anti-Jesus, bro, and offering it to other people. And that's how Satan works. We don't realize that's what he wanted. Dude, them accepting the lie was good enough. He was happy. It was like, move on. Also, I would go out every day was like a different outfit, dude, a different thing. I was evangelizing with Satan and for Satan, okay? It became understood where I never physically had to do anything with these women. It's about the heart, fam. Dude, the minute that this girl, that twinkling in her eyes, she go, oh yeah, I'll go home with this guy. I'll sleep with him. The minute that happened, okay, the demon in me, I hear it go, okay, she's in the bag, move on to the next one. And it was just done. It's never been about the physical. It's always been about the heart, guys, and Satan knows that. This is why 99.9% of our sin happens within the first 5 minutes of our day on our phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why adult content is a billion-dollar industry, because you don't need at all in any way to actually touch somebody for it to count as a sin, okay? And I'm going to rewind back to this defilement ritual at a certain point and link that, okay, into modern day living, because we know that Satan is the prince of this fallen world, right? All right, so here we go. This Jesus meant everything to me. And he tells me that he has to judge the world. And he tells me that it hurts him to judge his creation that he loves, which made total sense to me. But again, when he would tell me stuff, he'd make me feel it and believe it. So I would just start caring for him. I'm like, oh, well, I'm here for you, bud. I love you. He would express this in a big way. He's like, no, like, I have to go judge a lot of things that I love a lot. And it really messes me up. Could you imagine how messed up I am when I have to send something that I love to eternal damnation forever? It hurts me a lot. So they're building up for this big deal, okay, where this spirit goes off acting like Jesus, and I understand, and so do all the other angels that were demons that I was hanging out with every day. We all know he's got to go. He'll be back in 24 hours, but you and I are hanging out. My another demon that acted like my guardian angel, she would come to me and be like, hey, I watched you as a baby turn into a man, and like, I love you. And dude, it was so intimate. It was so hardcore. So like, while this Jesus figure's gone, we're all hanging out, and then my wife falls asleep. Everybody's asleep, and then the atmosphere changes, and the other spirits, which I see and feel like they're very real and they're there, they look at me and they go, Jesus is coming back, and he looks messed up, Wyatt. Like, he doesn't look right. He's vicious. He doesn't, and they're putting fear in me, right? So I'm like, what? And they're like, you're his emotional support. You need to be here for him. I'm like, okay, I'll do that for Jesus if that's what I need to do. Well, this beast comes back, and I had let them in so deeply, guys, to where they could physically touch me. They could hurt me. Like, I could feel it. Like, so much so to, like, I use this example just to help you understand how real it is, okay? They could get me there without me having to do anything. That's how real it was. So when this Jesus character that I believe my salvation is in, but also doing all these nasty stuff with, comes back, he completely savagely takes me, if you know what I mean. And I mean, like, all night. It was this stuff just sounds fake. It just sounds like crazy. You're just crazy, dude. But like, it was hell. It was like miserable hell. I'm screaming for it to stop. I'm trying to run, but it won't let me. I'm trying to hide, but I can't. I'm screaming for this thing to stop all night. And the next day is my daughter's 5th birthday. okay? And I'm there on the ranch, okay? And there's like 30 people for her birthday party at the house, and I am gone. My soul's gone. I'm just gone. Like, I personally believe I was way further than the dude with Legion. Like, I was just gone. I'm like laughing in front of 30 guests, talking to myself. Um, I don't know. I barely remember it. To me, I was in this really dark place where Satan kept showing me what he was wanting to do to me for each. I was literally on the brink of hell. I was like spiritually there. Um, but something takes me by my ear and takes me out into the field in front of, because we have a big ranch. And just takes me out there, gets me below the hill where no one can see me. And I fall to my knees. And right when I do, everything just goes back to normal. All the demons, I see them just run, scatter. And just Jesus is with me, dude. Like, I don't see him, but his presence is there. And I realized that I had just spent a year of my life or more like serving Satan. I realized that none of that was Jesus. I realized none of those were angels. I realized all of a sudden, all of it was just demons. It was all real. I was doing defilement rituals. I was evangelizing for all of that just happened in a moment. And I'm broken. And the shame I'm feeling could crack the earth, dude. Unlike any, and Jesus is there, and I can't look at him, and I'm weeping, and I want to unalive myself. I'm just so broken, dude. But he, in all that, after all that, this is how much God loves us, guys. Like, he makes me look at him. Like, he spiritually grabs my chin and he says, "You look up at me," because I wouldn't look. Like, you're my son still. After all of that, still loves me. Like, still, okay? Like, there was almost, I can't imagine going further. It was like as nasty and disgusting as it could get. And he still casted every demon out of me, brought me back to normal. He said, "I'm going to use you for big, big things." He told me, "Go inside and apologize to your wife and your family because you have no idea what you've been putting them through." Laughing hysterically for hours, staying up all night. No drugs involved, by the way. The last year, while I was still sober, still off drugs. All this happened just because that defilement ritual, Satan came in and just got me. Dude, I go inside and I'm normal. Normal. You ask all my family, yeah, he was out of his mind, nuts, laughing, rolling on the ground, talking to himself, staying up all night, and then comes back out of that field and he's who he is today. Normal. Jesus healed me. So the shame, though, he didn't fully take the shame away. I was still struggling with shame. He took a lot of it away, enough that I didn't in life, but he let me feel shame for like another year. And I mean bad, dude, all day long. And I'm just wrestling with shame every day, all day at work, and it's beating me. And then I finally come to this place where I realize, like, I either have to be born again or I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm trying to use not words, but I want to express how drastically hopeless I was and broken and shamed I was. So like God had wrestled me into this position where I had to rely on his forgiveness so deeply that it just became this radical thing for me. And it was like, no, I'm born again. I am made new. That man is gone. I'm not that guy anymore. I am made new, made the righteousness of God, and I will do as God asked me to. I will read my Bible every day, and he said he's going to use me. So that's what happens. Around that time, I'm driving home. I'm in the passenger seat. My brother's driving from work. I'm tired. I'm still kind of depressed and messed up from my life. I ruined my whole life. And I'm still trying to figure out what's real and not. And I want to do big things, but I can't put my testimony in words. I'm too shameful. But I wake up and I hear God say to me, millions. That's all I heard him say at first, millions. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, that was a real voice again, like millions. He's like, millions of people are going to hear your testimony and your preaching, and you're going to lead millions of people closer to the Lord, lead millions of people. Like, this is what God said. And then he said this to me, okay? And I got to talk about this. This is the words he said to me. And I said this to like 30 people after God told me. He said this. He said, soon I'm going to use your testimony. You're going to get on a channel called Touching the Afterlife. From there, your testimony is going to touch a lot of people, and someone's going to hit you up and fly you. This is what God told me. Hit you up and fly you to their city to do a bigger podcast, and then we're just starting. Okay, so I find Touching the Afterlife. I get a hold of 10 podcasts to start telling my testimony. Nobody hits me back but Touching the Afterlife. Dude, I'm telling you the truth. I do it. It does great. Wonderful. I became good friends with them. They're wonderful people. I love them very, very much. I text them. Well, I haven't talked to them in a little while, but we've been texting every day. I love them. I do the testimony. Okay. It hits so many people. I start realizing my story is really impactful and it can reach a lot of people. And then my boy Ezekiel from We Need to Talk hits me up on TikTok and he goes, hey, I want to fly you out to my city and do this podcast, dude. So just like God said, to the T, here we are. And officially today, it's multiple millions of people have heard this testimony that I'm giving you, except for I'm adding things like that I haven't been able to speak about before, because when I first started talking about Aleister Crowley, when I first started talking about the defilement rituals a year ago, people weren't up to date on that. But all of a sudden now it's one of the most talked about things. It's one of the most viral things. Crowley, Anton LaVey, the Satanic Church ritual, like, okay, it's one of the most talked about things. So a year ago, God's like, not yet. I can't let you describe that yet fully. But now I can start talking about it. So it's a real ritual, these defilement rituals. The pentagram represents a portal in many ways. Wiccans see it as like a portal into life and truth and nature because it represents all 5 elements, okay? Masons have the 5 folds of brotherhood. They also have the 5 folds of charity. But high up in the secret darkness of the darkest occultism is the 5-point pentagram style defilement ritual, and it's what I went through in my living room. Okay, it blew my mind when I did some research on this. Yes, it represents a lot of things to a lot of faiths, but it almost, if you understand spiritual law, it almost you'll understand that almost always, no matter how people use it, it's understood to be an opening, a portal, a way to get you into magic, a way to open you up, right? Okay, it's a ritual. A lot of people who practice magic, the pentagram's a ritual. Okay, so after it happens to me, God starts telling me, he says, you went through an actual defilement ritual where real people and spirits planned your life, okay? You went through a real ritual, and he started telling me about it. I didn't hear it from no one ever except for the Lord after he delivered me. And then I find out, I do some research on the rituals of defilement, and it's exactly what I went through in my living room and in my life. So then God started showing me how Lucifer, how he used it in a small way, okay, where the Aleister Crowley represented the beast, okay, and the women he was defiling represented the scarlet woman, the harlot that rode the beast in Revelation 17. The Lord told me that the Antichrist beast is trying to do that to society today through false God worship, self-worship. So we don't realize, like, if you look in the Bible and you look at the Tower of Babel, okay, when they were making the Tower of Babel, they said to themselves, let's make this tower so that all could see us and so we could be known. Well, when you make a Facebook page, you're doing the same thing. You're kind of exalting yourself. in today's time, we serve ourselves. So false God worship, we're being led. We're being led. And this is why I say we got to call out on Jesus Christ. Okay. There is repercussions to exalting things in our lives, guys, that there's repercussions. Okay. Period. So worship of self, false God worship. This is the nation where we took advantage of that. Okay. I mean, when you really see how Jesus called us, he called us to give everything, that all worship is the Lord's, all praise is Jesus's. He is what's good and powerful, and joy is his. He died for the sin of the world, okay? So you realize that when you put anything before him, or you idolize people or things or false gods, it's false God worship. And he says, I won't tolerate it because I'm a jealous God and I love you and you can hurt my heart, is what he's saying. He says, I'm jealous, don't do it. So we have worship of self, false God worship in this nation, the sexual stuff and trauma. Okay. So like adult content has got it. All right. Then sorcery, which has to do with poisons and drugs and like pharmakia, which is just filled in our country. And then the last one is magic. So if you don't think we're practicing magic, then we find out that in your heart, it's about your heart. So when we let the Disney Channel raise our children, guys, and they're exalting ancient arts in those movies, ancient demonic arts that God destroyed every man, woman, and child over, we're literally letting the magic of Disney and all these shows raise our children. You start realizing like this ritual is literally happening on the nation today. It's a big deal because Lucifer's the prince of this fallen world, okay? And this ritual is very, very real and it works. So Satan is trying to open us up, okay? And it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So the way you avoid this, it's not becoming Amish, okay, or whatever. It's not, I'm not, nothing against them. I love them. I got Amish friends. What I mean by it's not about throwing everything away and living like a nun. It's not about that. It's about waking up every day and saying, okay, Jesus, I want you in my life. You. I submit to you and your will, not my own. That's what I'm saying. So this ritual is being played out. The beast is literally defiling the nation. Okay, so moving on. I'll let you guys wrestle with that on your own. I'll let you pray about that on your own. Because that's like the first time I've really been able to speak publicly about that. Let's see here. God tells me he's going to use me for millions, but I'm still broken. And I have this wonderful encounter with Jesus Christ that fully changes me forever. So I start reading the Psalms in my bedroom, Psalms in the Bible, out loud, to the point where I'm like, dude, I'm not even going to like read these unless I read them out loud. Like, I just want to praise you, Jesus. I love you, Lord. Thank you for saving me. You know, I want real. The Bible says I can have power in the name of Jesus, you know? So I'm reading them out loud. I'm getting louder. So now I need to go out in the wilderness. I live in the mountains. I need to go out and I can worship him where no one can hear me. Then I start screaming. Then all this pain I didn't realize that I needed to heal from starts coming out. All this pain, dude. Like, you know, I used to scream at my wife so much that like I remember one time yelling at her and I used my hands to throw this dresser across the room. And I saw my daughter, 2 years old, so scared of me. Just bad, you know, like I had all this pain. So while I'm screaming, God goes, you're no longer going to use your voice to yell at a woman. You're no longer going to use your hands to break things and hurt people. He said, these hands were made to worship God. These hands were made to glorify the Lord, to praise God, to hold a woman and to hold a baby. Your voice was made to share my gospel and to exalt my name. So while I'm out there, dude, he's healing me. And I start screaming in worship, praise, worship, just screaming, dude. And while I'm screaming, he shows up in my life, shows up right there. His presence consumes me, wrecks me so deeply that I drop to my knees. The love, I realized I was loved the whole time. I realized how much he loved me. He showed me deep passion. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I deserved it. So my subconscious I'm wailing, guys. Spit's coming out of my mouth. I'm weeping in ways I never have. He is healing me. He's here. He's got me by my face, and he's like, son, you're mine. And I'm like spitting in the mud and rubbing it in my face subconsciously as just like, look, like that's what my spirit was doing. It wasn't my mind. I was just doing it. Like, look at me. I'm dirty. I'm foul. You need to get away, Jesus. I don't deserve you, Lord, you know? And my neck means Chomora Devaka. It's a curse, and it's a sexual defilement ritual curse. And just, dude, I couldn't look myself in the mirror. I couldn't look at the Lord. But when he's there healing me, that comes to mind. My neck does. And I'm just like, I can't be around you. I'm so sinful, so broken. No. And he speaks these words to me that I never read ever. He says, your neck is as beautiful as the Tower of David, and on it hang 1,000 shields, and each of them is the shield of a warrior. And when he said it, he was like, what the devil meant for evil, I'm going to use for good. I designed everything. I'm here with you. I could see our Lord sitting in the person of Solomon, who wrote the Song of Songs, and he was writing it to the church. And just, he had me in mind, and this moment was in mind. He's been waiting like thousands of years for this moment. Like, that's how much our God loves us, each and every one of us individually. You got to understand that those words in that book, they're not for the blind masses. They're for you individually. Every word is a love letter to you. So when he says this to me, it wrecks me. I weep the pain out. I wail, dude. My face is covered in dirt. I'm weeping. God just fully wrecks me and heals me. And come to find out, that verse that he said, your neck is as beautiful as the Tower of David, and on it hang 1,000 shields, and each of them, dude, honorable, your neck is as beautiful as the Tower of David, and on it hang 1,000 shields, and each of them is the shield of a warrior, comes from the Song of Songs, chapter 4, verse 4. And I'd never read that. He said that to me, and I found out he had wrote that in the Word of God, dude. And he was just telling me, why you're not a mistake. I don't make trash. I died for you. My blood pays for all things. If you want forgiveness, I'm here right now. I'll heal you right now. And it changed my life big time, massively. I have literally like done nothing but share the gospel since this day. And that's been over 2 years at this point. And when, dude, I mean drastically, like on fire, pure, just lit a fire in me that I never, ever could have imagined. Like, it's been non-stop.
Wyatt,
Yeah.
a lot of the viewers are asking what happened to your wife, how she ended up in prison, how she's doing now.
Yeah, so my wife's doing great. When I got locked up, when I was screaming in jail and all that, and I did a couple months in jail and 4 months in rehab, my wife was still on the streets using drugs. And for the most part, even though I was out of my mind, I was like stealing every day. I was like providing for our addictions, because as insane as it sounds, with all that darkness, God never wanted me to sell drugs. So like, do anything else, I just don't want you to sell them. Well, I go to jail and my wife's got a bad fentanyl addiction, sorry. And she's got a bad one, and she's like, she's got to provide for herself now. And if you guys know the streets, they're raw and real. And I know the internet doesn't like to hear about it. The algorithms don't like to hear about it, but the truth is that women get taken advantage of out there. And when you're addicted, it's the devil's way of just putting a chain around your neck, and you're going to get through the day because the withdrawals are too bad. So she either had to sell the drugs or sell herself. And she basically did a little bit of both. And this is tough to talk about, what I'm about to say. I don't even know if she ended up selling drugs to somebody who took those drugs and sold them to somebody, and that person overdosed. So my wife, yeah, and died. Yeah.
What kind of a sentence?
She got 7 years in federal prison. So she'll do about 5.5 of it, because it's 85%. And it was going to be like 20 years, but right before her sentencing, a law came out that the judge was able to give her a lighter sentence. So you guys want to pray for her, that'd be great. Dude, it's been a ride. It's been a ride, but the Lord started telling me, he's like, well, how far would you go for just one? Could I equip a man like you? Could I equip you guys out there? Could it possibly be that the struggles that you guys go through in your life is that God is growing you and making you stronger so he could use you? It's just about your willingness to call out to him and be used, right? So I went through everything I went through, and now I realize, like, thank you, Lord, that I went through it all because I can expose darkness and I can lead people to Christ Jesus. And that's what truly matters, because we're talking about eternity. So, you know, Satan got vulnerable with me. One time he told me that he was teaching me about secret societies. He was teaching me about hand signals. And okay. And he told me this flat out. This is what the devil told me while acting like Jesus. So I'm thinking and we're doing all this nasty stuff. And I've yet to ever talk about this too, because I just thought it was so far out there, but I'm just going to talk about it. So he says, there's this local like lumber yard store. It's a very big chain. I'm not going to say the name of it, but a big one. Everyone knows about these stores. He says they're owned by the secret society, and that part sometimes when somebody's graduating into being a master in this secret society, one of the degrees is to work as a manager at a store like this. It's about a humble thing. It's about pride and being humble. So he says, you're going to go in there and I'm going to show you what hand signals to do. And they're going to have you leave without paying. So I'm just like, this is how real this was, bro. So I go in there with I get $600. I fill my cart. He has me do these certain things, barely remember them, but he had me do them. Like, you got to remember the devil's like in me. He's like having me do certain things, crossing my hands. I get to the aisle to start checking out, and he says, yeah, he knows you're one. He thinks you're a master mason, okay? Right when I'm about to start checking out, I'm telling you guys the truth. The manager comes up to me, stops me, doesn't say a word about leaving without paying or nothing, just grabs me in my cart, and he's like, hey, bro, how you doing? Do you have a nice shopping experience? Like, takes me out, and he's like, all right, like, winks, and he's like, all right, see you, bro. Like, takes me out, leads all of my stuff out, everything, and has me leave. And I'm like, oh, this is real. I was like, whoa, this is real. And it's all around us. You got to be kidding me. Okay, so yeah, Lucifer got really vulnerable with me. He started teaching me about a lot of things, actually. He started teaching me about covens and exposing local covens in the area. He started giving me authority over so he started giving me authority, spiritual authority in these secret societies without me actually being one. Dude, I started going around and having full-blown conversations with Masons. I would just walk up and be like, hey, what up, bro? And like, they would be though, like we would talk about it. I'm like, you're a mate, like, it was just really intense. And I started finding out that the witches are out there. They're real covens. I had real conversations with real witches about the defilement rituals that I went through, where they confirmed every step of it, okay? All because of a spirit in me said, go talk to her. All because a spirit in me said, you can go talk to him, I give you permission. And afterward, I was talking to God, I'm like, why would Satan do that? And God was like, you don't understand, son, that the ritual you went through is a guarantee that you will not come back. Like, it's a science. This is what I'm trying to get across. So when we're casually being entertained by something dark, guys, like when we're glorifying ancient magics and arts, when we're watching this stuff that we shouldn't be watching, there is repercussions. I have to say it while I'm on here. There is repercussions. And I'm afraid that it's come to this place where just me even talking about it just makes me sound nuts. But I'm telling you, if you have any faith in the word of God, there is repercussions. He says, I curse to the third and fourth generation. Okay. Well, what does that curse look like, guys, when we're just consuming the entertainment from the beast? We know demonic possession's real. So what does that look like? It looks sometimes beautiful. Demons write songs through people. Demons do politics. Lucifer is the king of the fallen world. It's all his, right? So that's why I say when you wake up, you give your life to the Lord and not everything else. You can be consumed by the Holy Spirit or be consumed by an unholy spirit. An unholy spirit can feel good, but it won't give you the boldness to share the gospel. An unholy spirit can feel like Jesus, but you won't love someone enough to actually lead them to salvation. So an unholy spirit, see, the devil spent a lot of time, okay, mimicking what people think the Holy Spirit may feel like. But there's another way to be consumed by an unholy spirit, where you are spending all of your time depressed. You're spending all of your time in anxiety. You're spending all of your time in fear and stress and worry. You're consumed by the voice of that demon, because like you're consumed by those spirits. Okay. Yeah, and I just want to say that to everybody who's watching, because in our casual day-to-day life, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like everything's cool. But what is that curse? God said, I do curse. So we've been watching the content, we've been doing it. What does the curse look like? Well, the curse is the lukewarm thing, where you think you can change, but you can't. You can't unless you cry out to Jesus. You think everything's good. Like, I argue with people all the time. They're like, I don't need nothing. I do it myself. That's it. You don't see it. The curse is when you can't see that you have an issue. The curse is when you are in the dark place and don't know it. And that is the state of this nation right now. And yeah, that's the message I'm gonna get out. I have a calling, and it's never gonna stop. So yeah.
Why
Not until
a few people are asking about your daughter, whether you see her, whether her mother sees her, and whether her
the
mother.
daughter.
Yeah, your
My
daughter.
daughter. I see my daughter every day. Yeah.
And people are asking when your daughter's mother will get out of prison.
It's gonna be about 5 years.
5 years. So does your daughter get to visit
Yeah.
In the prison? Yeah.
Yes.
That must be quite intense.
So it's in Victorville, California. We're in Colorado, so we have to drive out there and plan the whole thing. Because I am a felon, I can't see her. So like my in-laws will take my daughter in there to see her. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. But I tell my daughter all the time that she too. I was like, I know that, there was a period of time where your daddy wasn't around, and right now your mommy's not around. I was like, but God knows you're strong, and someday you're gonna be able to take that strength that you have and give it to somebody else who's going through tough stuff. And she's just such a wonderful little girl, dude. You can continue to beat yourself up about your actions and what you did in the past, or you can do what I said and say, okay, I'm born again. I'm made new. I'm not that man. And the Holy Spirit in me proves it, because now I'm a good father. I'll never leave my kids again. And now I can do what I'm called to do, which is what I'm doing right now, sharing my gospel, sharing my testimony and the gospel of Jesus Christ.
People are asking us whether the prison is helpful in terms of rehabilitation from the
My wife was sober for almost 2 years before she went to prison. So that case took a long time. Yeah. So she was fully sober, being the best mother, being a better mother than before. Like, our family was together. It was great. It was a really sad day when we were able to take her to the women's prison and drop her off. It was really sad because everything was good, dude. Daddy was home, mommy was home. It was sad.
You just got a lot of love and support in the chat, and people are just really concerned about you, your daughter, and your partner. And it's good that you've concluded by letting everybody know those things.
Yeah,
So
it's all good. Actually, things are really, really good right now. Like, I wanted to say again, just a couple years ago, guys, I was broken. Just a couple years ago, like, I was intimate with demons who were tatting their signs on me. Like, just a couple years ago, dude, I was doing nothing but carnage and depressed and broken. And again, like I said, now, like, I'm teaching classes on evangelism, and God's using me daily and building me, and I'm helping others. And it's incredible what the Lord can do when we cry out, when we're like, all right, God, your way, not my own. Yeah.
All right. So viewers, we've got the link for Wyatt's YouTube channel. I'm going to put it in the live chat. It's also in the description box. Because of the nature of what you've said today, Wyatt, I have to just make sure that you waive your anonymity because of what happened to you as a young person, and you give us permission to publish all of this.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion to the viewers? I mean, we've just sat here riveted for almost 2 hours. You're such a
Yeah, I
powerful
appreciate
speaker.
it.
Like I said in the beginning, you took us on this fascinating, harrowing journey. And if there's anything you'd like to say in conclusion to the viewers, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm just thankful that you guys are watching. I just want to say again, like as a caution, I don't know how many of you are Christian. Okay, so I just want to say again, just keep your eyes open because there is an enemy. He is attacking. The actions that you do either have a good or bad effect on your life spiritually. And Jesus Christ died for your sins, right? So some of us could have done a lot of really bad in our past, but you can cry out, you can ask him to forgive you, and he'll come into your life right now. And I'm not saying that that just is this change of beauty and wonder. I'm saying that you can be given purpose again, and you can know what love is, and you can walk in reason and purpose. And yeah, that's what I got to say.
And we really appreciate you, brother, coming on and revisiting your trauma, but being so open and authentic just to inspire so many people around the world. We appreciate that, Carmen. That's fantastic. You have a great rest of your day. I'm going to close the show and let you go, my friend.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Wyatt. Cheers. What a phenomenal guest, folks. Like I said in the beginning, you know, Wyatt, I've watched some of his other interviews, very powerful speaker. Just a couple of years ago, he was going for absolute hell. And what an absolute transformation. There's loads more videos on his channel. I'm going to put the link in the live chat again. If you're watching on replay, his link will be in the description box. I'll also do it on the pinned comment. And when this video ends, we just interviewed a grooming gang survivor telling her story for the first time. This video is going to take you over to that one. It was published, I think it was yesterday. It's been shadow banned, so if you missed it, it's another heartbreaking one. And I'll let you guys know what else we've got coming up. So on the 18th, we've got Is MK Ultra Worldwide with James Martinez, who's been exposing MK Ultra since the 1970s. On the 18th, later on, we've got Surviving Epstein, the Jess Michael story. Epstein survivor, never been on the channel before. And then Saturday night, we've got Kevin Annette on Queen Elizabeth and the Disappeared Native Kids, and the Jeffrey client list cover-up. So that's going to be fascinating as well. So wherever you are in the world, folks, take care. If you missed the grooming gang survivor, it was a story out of Bradford, really harrowing. This video, when it ends, is going to take you to that one next. It's just come out in the last couple of days.